Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeru Tandon from Department of English, VSSD College, Kanpur. We are discussing paper English Language Teaching. The present module is based on English for specific or academic purpose. In this module, we are going to talk about the specific needs, requirements, and problems related with English when we finally use it for some specific or some academic purpose. We all know that English as a language is for communication mostly. But what happens that there are certain other uses of English as well. When we take it some specific use of English, then what happens? What are the various theories? What are the various researches regarding this that we are going to discuss in this module? It deals with English language for specific purposes or academic purposes in the sense that it attempts to understand English for this popularly known as ESP. And it has become an extremely significant branch of ELT by encompassing various linguists' efforts to define it, tracing its historical growth, discussing its characteristics, and trying to find out its scope and purpose to address the specific needs of EFL, ESL learners. Now, as far as the historical background of ESP is concerned, after the end of the Second World War in 1945, English as a language became the accepted international language of technology and commerce. Most of the trade, most of the business, they were being just dealt in this very particular language. It created a new generation of learners who needed English to keep up with developments in their fields. They were businessmen, they were technocrats, doctors, mechanics, waiters, tour guides, translators, and many more. These factors led to the emergence of the teaching of English for specific purposes in the late 1960s. For the past few years, English for specific purposes has been a major development and the focus in this area of communicative syllabus design and material production. Learning English for a specific purpose is actually designed to meet specific needs of the specific people. Now, this includes orientation to specific spoken and specific written English required to carry out a specific academic and official work. Now, let us define what is ESP. English for specific purposes, not to be confused with specialized English. It is a sphere of teaching English language, including business English, technical English, scientific English, English for medical professionals, English for hospitality, English for tourism, for art purpose, aviation industry, and then ESP is taught to pilots, air traffic controllers, civil aviation cadets who are going to use it in radio communication. ESP can be also considered as an avatar of language for specific purposes as told by Wikipedia. According to the definition of English for specific purposes, as said by Tom Hutchinson and Ellen Walters in 1990, ESP is an approach to language teaching in which all decisions as to content and method are based on the learner's reasons for learning. Now, what is this specific discipline? It is confined to the teaching of English to the learners who have specific goals and purposes. These goals might be professional, academic, or scientific. Thus, it is not the specific discipline that is primarily the ESP, but the specific goal of the specific learner. That's why we call English for specific purposes. Now, what is that particular purpose of ESP? It is found out that the purpose of ESP course is to enable learners to function that particular work adequately in the target situation. Some major related terms with ESP are EAP, that is English for academic purpose, EOP, English for occupational purpose, EST, English for science and technology, EBE, English for business and economics, EVP, English for vocational purposes, ESS, English for social sciences, EMP, English for medical purposes, and ERP, like English for recreational purposes. Whenever you just consult the syllabus of various universities, various other courses, then you will find these terminology being used over there, whatever is needed in that for that particular course. Now, what are the requirements? An ESP program should be aim directed, learner directed, and situation directed. An ESP course should have 3 features: authentic material, purpose related orientation, and self-direction. Let me explain this thing. Now, when we say that ESP program should be aim directed, what do we mean by that? That ESP has got a particular aim. What is that aim? Because it is specific. So, like suppose dealing with the hospitality industry. So, the aim is that the person who is the learner, because it is learner directed as well. So, whosoever is the learner, whatever his capacities are, we are supposed to take him to that particular position, that particular borderline where he can meet with all the needs that are the requirement of that particular area. Like there is someone in the hotel, and then how to greet the customers, how to understand whatever customers can you will have to expect it that the dealing with the customer. So in that particular situation, there will be some specific vocabulary will be used, some specific dialogues will be used, some specific situations will be created to teach ESP, and in that particular situation, whatever could be imagined, that will be taught. So it is learner directed. And then situation directed. What can be the situation? If a person comes in the hotel, and how the hotel person should make him comfortable, what may be the problems, how he is supposed to deal with them, what are the basic terminology, not only vocabulary, but the terminology being used by the hotel person and person who comes over there as customer. So all these things, when we just talk about that, in that particular case, whatever is left, it's a vast gamut, but we are not concerned with the rest of the things, that is ESP. So authentic material must be there to teach them regarding that particular area. Then purpose related orientation should be there. We should tell them that what should be the body language, how they should carry along, what are the things like how to pronounce certain words and other things. So that is the purpose related orientation. And then the last thing is self-direction. Ultimately, things can be taught, but depends upon the person concerned, how he takes, how much he takes, and how he delivers. Now, what is special in ESP, English for specific purposes? So, sometimes it is special, sometimes it is used as specific. So, term special or specific in ESP refers to the specific purpose for learning English. Students approach the study of English through a field that is already known and relevant to them. This means that they are able to use what they learn in the ESP classroom right away in their work and studies. They get that atmosphere very easily. When to use it instantly. Whatever they are learning English as a language. Rest of the context is already there with them. So the ESP approach enhances the relevance of what the students are learning and enables them to use the language they know to learn even more. Like, since their interest in their field will motivate them to interact with the speakers and text. There are 4 key issues in ESP curriculum design, because when we just deal with the particular specific purpose, so the most important thing is the designing of the curriculum. Now we have a specific goal, we have a specific learner, we know how to deal with in that particular time period whatever is given for teaching. So the most important thing is from beginning till end what should be the curriculum. So there are 4 important factors to be taken care of, like abilities required for successful communication in occupational settings. Then content language acquisition versus general language acquisition. Then heterogeneous versus homogeneous learner group. And finally, materials development. Now English for a specific purpose, and it is there in India, like more and more people are adopting it for various personal and professional reasons. It has grown to become one of the most prominent areas of EFL teaching. There are certain absolute characteristics, like ESP consists of English language teaching which is designed to meet specific needs, which is related in content like themes, topics to particular discipline, particular occupation and activities. So before whosoever is the instructor or the curriculum designer, one must be very much aware with that particular discipline, with that particular area, the needs of that particular specifically designed course. So ESP makes use of underlying methodologies and activities of the discipline it serves. It is appropriate to those activities in syntax, lexics, discourse, semantics, etc. and analysis of this discourse. And it should be in contrast with general English. So whenever we are going to teach someone ESP, unless and until we know all the pros and cons of that particular industry, area, business, we won't be in the situation to design a curriculum or to teach them properly. Now there are certain variable characteristics as well. ESP may be but is not necessarily related to the language skills to be learned like reading only, not taught according to any preordained methodology. What does it mean? That some person, like he is in the tourism, so the most of the time what he is doing, he is supposed to talk only. Sometimes he is supposed to be an interpreter kind of person. Sometimes he just talks related with the other thing. But what happens, like someone is there and he in the tourism industry, maybe he will have to talk some general things also. So you just can't limit him for that specific goal. Those specific things should be taught in connection with the general things. So ESP may be related to or designed for specific disciplines. It may use in specific teaching situations a different methodology from that of the general English. It is likely to be designed, that is to be noted, one important thing, that it is likely to be designed for adult learners. There is the difference, that usually whenever we just design a curriculum for ELT, we take care that maybe we are starting with the very young learners. But this ESP, because it is job oriented, because it is area specific, so it has always, it is designed to keep the adult learners in mind, and most probably we feel that the learner will be bilingual. So either at the tertiary level institution or in a professional work situation. So it could, however, be for learners at secondary school level or higher education. It is generally designed for advanced student, you can say, and so most ESP courses, they assume some basic knowledge of the language system. The learner, the teacher, he feels that the basics of the language, like how to construct a sentence, what are the basic things to express yourself in this particular language, are already known to the learner. There are various types of ESP. Most ESP courses assume some basic knowledge of the language system, but it can be used with beginners. It was said in 1998 by David Carter, who identified 3 types of ESP. English as a restricted language, English for academic and occupational purposes, and English with specific topics. Now, Dudley, Evans and St. John have removed the absolute characteristics that ESP is in contrast with General English and added more variable characteristics. They assert that ESP is not necessarily related to a specific discipline. So, when we say restricted language, what do we mean by it? The language is specifically used by air traffic controllers or by waiters are examples of English as a restricted language, because the person who is not in this particular industry will not be needing this kind of vocabulary or this kind of teaching that is particularly being given to air personals or the waiters. Mackay and Mountford in 1978 clearly illustrated the difference between restricted language and language with this statement. I quote, "The language of international air traffic control could be regarded as special in the sense that the repertoire required by the controller is strictly limited and can be accurately determined situationally, as might be the linguistic needs of the dining room waiters or air hostess. However, such restricted repertoires are not languages, just as a tourist phrase book is not grammar. Knowing a restricted language would not allow the speaker to communicate effectively in novel situation or in context outside the vocational environment." Unquote. Now we can find it very easily. Everybody, whenever we just travel through flight, we find that as soon as the flight starts, the flight persons, they come over there and demonstrate various things. Now more or less 95% the language remains the same in whatever airlines you are traveling with. So what happens? How and why? Because they are being taught that particular language. Maybe otherwise they are not so fluent in speaking English, but as far as that purpose is concerned, they know how to say what should be the body language, what are the words to be used. So they are well versed with that and they speak in that very particular language. So because they were taught English for this specific purpose. English, when we find for occupational purposes, so that is something science and technology that is also used. English for business and economics that we call EBE, and English for social studies, ESS. So each of these subject areas are further divided into 2 branches, EAP and EOP, that is occupational purposes. So example of EOP for the EST branch is English for technicians, whereas an example of EAP for the EST branch is English for medical sciences or medical studies. So now when we come to the specific topics, now no particular vocation is there, but to be more limited, to be more specific, we are just dealing with certain topics. This is the third and the final type of ESP identified by Carter. It is the English with specific topics because Carter notes that it is only here where emphasis shifts from purpose to the topic. So this type of ESP is uniquely concerned with anticipated future English needs of, for example, scientists requiring English for postgraduate reading studies, attending conferences, or working in foreign institutions. However, it is an integral component of ESP courses or programs which focus on situational language. This situational language is based on the interpretation of results from needs analysis of authentic language used in the target workplace settings. ESP concentrates more on language in context than on teaching grammar and language structures. They will teach you what to speak. They will never tell you why to speak, why we have constructed that kind of sentence, what are the grammatical things behind this. If we are using S, then why are we using S with the singular verb or not? The only thing, okay, whenever you are using singular, you are supposed to use S in the present tense. So that is the thing, that is the way the teaching in this criteria is different. The way the methodology of teaching English is different from rest of the things. It covers various subjects. ESP's focal point is that English is not taught as a subject separated from the student's real world. However, ESL and ESP diverge not only in the nature of the learner but also in the aim of the instructions. While in ESL, all 4 language skills, LSRW, listening, reading, speaking and writing, are stressed equally. In ESP, it is a needs analysis that will determine which language skill is more important and which should be given more time and more stress by the teacher as well as by the learners, and the syllabus is designed accordingly. An ESP program might, for example, emphasize the development of reading skills in students who are preparing for graduate work in business administration, or it might promote the development of spoken skills in students who are studying English in order to become tourist guides. But suppose we are just training them for a call center where only purpose is that they should attend calls and reply back, then whether their written communication skills are good or bad, it doesn't matter. So nobody will teach them or nobody will design a curriculum where ELT is used for written communication more. Now some other areas for ESP are banking and finance, hospitality and tourism, human resources, law. Yes, of course, a separate paper of legal language is there in law courses. Why? Because legal language has got separate terminology. It has got separate way of constructing sentences, the way in the court lawyer is supposed to plead his case, the way he is supposed to do the drafting, the way he is supposed to reply the plaints and the other legal documents. So that is the particular area with a particular language where ESP is very, very important. Then marketing, sales, nursing, medical or engineering and Air Force. So these are the basic categories where ESP really works and will have to work. Now another question comes across that while teaching, what is the role of teacher in this particular area? Is it more important, less important? Only the certain words are important, only the usage of those words are important, or really the need of teacher is there? Can it be learned by only technology or no? So ESP teachers' work involves much more than teaching. An ESP teacher is also known as practitioner because he at a time is supposed to play different roles. He should be a teacher while guiding them how to adopt all those things. He should be an evaluator also, because every day he will find the group of people or separate number of people who are coming along with this particular requirement. So he should be in the position to evaluate that the person who is learning, that learner after learning the course has reached to that particular required level or not. Then ESP practitioner, every time whatever he is teaching, he is just coming across something new. So in this way he becomes a researcher also. While teaching them, he just keeps on doing something that will give him inputs for doing further research. And in the same way, he is a collaborator as well. He just adds something new. He just keeps on adding something in that particular area. There are certain tips, practical ideas and resources for teaching many areas of ESP. Let us discuss them. An ESP course for engineers, for example, need not be limited to the language of engineering text, but will include all the identified linguistic and skill components relevant to the participants' needs. British Council Annual Report in 1960 drew attention to specific needs. It said, I quote, "The airways pilot, the NATO soldier or the sailor, the African politician, the scientist at an international conference, the merchant, the businessman and technician all require English for their special use. The kind of English they need and the level of proficiency they must have depend on the uses to which they wish to put it." Unquote. As a matter of fact, ESP combines subject matter and English language teaching. Such a combination is highly motivating because students are able to apply whatever they learn in their English classes to their main field of study. Being able to use the vocabulary and structure that they learn in a meaningful context reinforces what is taught and increases their motivational level. So, to sum up, we can say that English for a specific purpose is different from ELT and the other branches in one way, that is, this may be taken as a course which is usually designed for adult learners. Then when we deal with English for specific purposes, there are certain branches, there are certain areas, certain vocations. Rather, it is just keeping in mind those personnel, the curriculum is being designed. So the role of teacher is manifold in it. And teacher, whenever he is dealing with this particular course, is supposed to have knowledge of English, of course, but more than that, he must have the thorough knowledge of that particular field for which this course is being designed. If an instructor of ESP is not aware of the medical branch and his knowledge is limited to that particular terminology of English related with the course, then whenever any new thing will come, whenever a learner will come up with various doubts, then there will be difficulty for the instructor also. So there are various barriers, you can say, that can come across. Let us discuss those barriers, what those barriers may be. Number one, that you are dealing with adult learners. So learning is not that smooth because of certain reasons. Number one is age, that the brain already they have a language which is there, and it will be the second or the third language that they are learning. So all the terminologies, all the vocabularies, they are mixed up. So you are just supposed to tell them, while using this particular language, they are not supposed to mix up any other language with that. Mixing of language, mixing of codes should not be there. So training them will be another problem. The instructor is not only supposed to make them acquainted with the terminology being used in that vocation, but also how to speak. The intonation, the particular required tone of using English, it should also be taught. Now, hospitality industry, you are supposed to be very, very particular. You are supposed to be very modest. Whatever you want to say, how you are saying, that is more important. So instructor of ESP should be aware of all those problems while dealing with this course. Another problem may come just like that. Of course, the learner is interested, that's why he is there. That is the added benefit. But while teaching them, they may come across with certain problems on their unconscious level. They are not conscious of those problems, like pronunciation. That is one very important thing. That the influence of mother tongue on their pronunciation of English in this very industry may cause problem. Then if they are used to speak very fluently, then also they may not be the clear guidelines for this particular person, for particular course. So they are supposed to change their way of speaking. That is also the duty of the ESP instructor, to tell them related with the course. How caring they should be in the nursing industry. How they are supposed to deal with certain terminology, that there should be a link between a doctor and a patient. So all these things should be taken care of by instructor and learner as well, for English for specific purposes. When we find that there is one more thing, English for academic purposes. When you deal with English for academic purposes, you are just limited to a certain course, that is curriculum, and only you are supposed to deal with those particular topics which are examination oriented, and the student is supposed to pass the exam by learning those topics. So you only deal with that particular topic, and you expect that the learner knows the language. Only he is supposed to be trained for that academic purpose. So thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.